China and Japan are having a row. Tourism arrivals from China have been canceled. The boycott could result in a loss of around 2.2 trillion yen annually, according to Nomura Research Institute. Tourism-related stocks in Japan have since sunk. All this after Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi said that China's use of force against Taiwan could constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan. And in that situation, Japan will be legally allowed to mobilize its troops.
中方对日方近期的军事安全动向感到严重关切。日本自我标榜为和平国家，宣扬建立无核武器世界，但高市政权却对无核三原则表态模糊，语焉不详，暗示有可能放弃。日方高官甚至声称不排除引进核潜艇。 这些都充分暴露了日方政策的重大负面转向，向国际社会释放出危险信号。
The subject of Japanese militarism has been much discussed since January 2025, 11 months ago, as China held a series of events to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Many films and documentaries were aired in 2025 examining the period of the Japanese invasion. Every year, American and Japanese troops get together for joint drills known as Exercise Iron Fist. The drills in 2025 are reported by the Japanese media to have the largest troop contingent since the exercise began in 2005. It was held in Kyushu and Okinawa. Okinawa is part of an island chain known as the Nansei Shoto chain, which stretches 1,200 kilometers between Japan's mainland's southern point, Kyushu, and Taiwan. This chain is regarded as a potential front line in the event of a Taiwan contingency.
If you look at the map of Japan, the Nansei Shoto located in the southwest, literally, and that geographically very close to Taiwan, East China Sea, and also to the South China Sea. If the Taiwan contingency happens, as the late Prime Minister Abe once mentioned, the Taiwan contingency is the contingency of Japan.
Trouble has been brewing in the Nansei island chain. In August 2022, China fired 5 ballistic missiles into waters around Yonaguni to protest U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. The nearest missile exploded 80 kilometers off Yonaguni's coast. In February 2025, China flew a reconnaissance and attack drone near the Nansei Islands, prompting scrambles by the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force.
This is the first meeting between Mr.
In the same month, after US and Japanese leaders held their first summit, the two sides pledged to increase military presence in the Nansei Islands. Japan is ramping up its defense spending at a record pace since the end of World War II. In 2022, Tokyo pledged 43 trillion yen, that's about 300 billion US dollars, to a military buildup that would span 5 years. It lifts defense spending to 2% of GDP from just over 1%. Since then, military presence has accelerated rapidly across the Nansei island chain. Yonaguni Island is a case in point. The place is known for its wild horses and rugged coastline. But the wooded mountain ranges now carry radar sites to monitor Chinese military activity. And what was once a cattle ranch is now a military camp. These developments have divided opinions in the community.
国境の島ってことは誇りに思ってきたんです。ところがここ最近国境の島だから危ない危ないって煽られて、すごく悲しいんですけど、
もうそのなんかスピードが速いんですよ。もうこの変わっていくその受け入れ、ここまではいいよって言ってたのがそれを飛び越えてどんどんいろいろなこの施設ができたり、もう状況が変わっていく台湾有事で。
Residents must contend with more than just the presence of local troops. The U.S. Army also conducts exercises at Camp Yonaguni. Plans are also underway for a new missile site and expansions to the island's small airport and port. Some locals fear the military buildup might provoke an attack.
こんな素晴らしい島をそういう利用の仕方、バトルフィールドにするっていう感覚で見ないでほしい。
The fishermen, who have been among the first to see growing Chinese military activity, take a different view.
日本の自衛隊だけでは守れないっていうのはもうお分かりだと思うんです。だからそこのことを考えると米軍が一緒になって合同演習を行う。
This division in public opinion can be found across the Nansei Island chains. In Okinawa, some residents are calling for the number of American troops located on the island to be reduced. 55,000 American troops are stationed in Japan, and most of them are here in Okinawa.
The most fundamental difference that needs to be addressed is, I would say, philosophical, in that there are those in Okinawa who truly believes that any type of preparation for a crisis, any type of military buildup to deter such activities from occurring is escalatory in nature. So for them, the best option is to not do anything, because any action would be seen provocative from the other side, so we should not do that. But then, of course, there are others in Okinawa who believes that no, deterrence works. We need to pursue peace through strengths. We need to be prepared.
Is this fundamental philosophical differences also amplified throughout the whole nation?
I would say so, and there are various public opinions to support this. I think that the Japanese people are becoming much more aware about the importance of the self-defense forces and the Japan-US alliance in deterring conflict from occurring in the region, precisely because what's happening in the Taiwan Straits, as well as what's going on in the Russia-Ukraine front. I think we all thought that we are now living in a world where we decided collectively that we are not going to use military force to change the status quo. Apparently, that's not the case anymore with the Russians engaging in an illegal invasion against Ukraine. If that's happening, then how are we to be sure that that doesn't happen again elsewhere in the world?
In the 2025 Japan Defense Ministry White Paper, published in July, it states China poses an unprecedented and the greatest strategic challenge to Japan's security.
Now, since the normalization of China-Japan bilateral relations, trade has just gone up. It's gone up more than 300 times, and the figure now is close to $300 billion annually. We know that Japan is China's third largest foreign investor, and China is Japan's largest trading partner. So in the context of all that, is China really a threat to Japan?
Well, China has been the engine of the world economy for past decades, and that is also true for Japan. And currently, that 12,000 Japanese companies are operating in China, and many of them are making a good profit. But at the same time, we are also engaged in the large-scale strategic competition of the United States and China, and we are the largest ally in Asia of the United States. So how we can really create the more resilient economic structure. After all, Chinese economy still plays a huge role in the Japanese economy in both positive way and also as a source of risk. So we are now navigating such a complex scenario towards China.
The likelihood of a conflict between China and Japan, I believe, is when Japan start to provide logistic support to the United States, because that is a kind of treaty obligation for them. But they are not stupid, because according to public opinion, not many people would support a direct conflict with China. I don't believe the Japanese would assist the United States militarily unless it is attacked by China first, for example, with missiles. But why would China all of a sudden decide to launch a missile attack on Japanese territory?
What's the thinking on whether or not Japan should defend Taiwan if it ever were to come to that?
There are no treaty obligations for Japan to protect Taiwan. That's clear. What is important for Japan, though, is that the Taiwan contingency does not happen. So it's less about Japan trying to defend Taiwan, but more about Japan doing everything it can with its allies and partners to make sure that such a crisis is deterred.
关于台湾问题，我可以告诉你的是，台湾问题是中国内政，如何解决台湾问题是中国人自己的事情，不容任何外部势力干涉。
日方领导人有关言论，到底想向台独势力发出何种信号？是否企图挑战中方核心利益，阻挠中国统一大业？究竟想把中日关系引向何方？
June 23rd, a solemn remembrance ceremony is held. One of many such events this year as Japan marks 80 years since the end of World War II. As its citizens reflect on the past, there are no easy answers on how we can maintain peace in the future.
"
由于殖民和侵略历史，日本的军事安全动向一直备受亚洲邻国和国际社会的关注。波茨坦公告明确规定，日本禁止重新武装。日本和平宪法也确立了专守防卫的原则。然而，令人警惕的是，日本近年来大幅调整安保政策，逐年增加防卫预算，放宽武器出口限制，谋求发展进攻性武器，图谋放弃无核三原则。日本右翼势力正极力突破和平宪法的束缚，在强军扩武的道路上越走越远。80年前，日本军国主义发动侵略战争，给亚洲和世界带来深重灾难。历史的教训不能忘却，不可歪曲，更不容抹杀。80年后的今天，我们绝不允许日本军国主义复活，绝不允许任何人挑战战后国际秩序，绝不允许世界和平稳定再遭破坏。
The Japanese public is divided on whether Japan should exercise its right to collective self-defense if China attacks Taiwan. This, according to a Kyoto news agency poll on November 16, 2025. The survey found 48.8% in favor and 44.2% against, while 60.4% backed Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's plan to beef up the country's defense spending. There are growing concerns that the current dispute could spiral into the worst crisis for bilateral relations since 2012. In that year, violent riots and peaceful protests broke out in many China cities, following Tokyo's decision to nationalize the Senkaku or Diaoyu Islands, which is a site of territorial disputes.